Hi everyone, Steve Kim here. So excited. Steve Kim Show episode number 15. Yeah, it looks totally new, totally modern, upgraded. I just want to say a special thank you to my incredible, beautiful wife who helped create these slides for me and encouraged me to start using that big screen TV down in the basement that I bought last year that she says I never use. So I just want to say thank you so much. Last week I talked about some of the ways to save for your down payment, and I said, look, there are some other associated costs that you must pay attention to when you're purchasing a property. So, Steve Kim Show episode number 15, what are some of those additional costs? So number one, the land transfer tax, and you know it, right, as a buyer, hopefully you know this as a buyer, there are two land transfer tax. Number one is something called the provincial land transfer tax, and these are for all the properties outside of the 416, outside of Toronto, right? So on a purchase price of $500,000, that land transfer tax is going to cost you $6,475. Now, if I took that exact same purchase price and I put it in the 416, I'm purchasing a property in Toronto, I pay something called a municipal land transfer tax, and that equates to $6,475. Again, on a purchase price of $500,000. And this is the kicker. Because now you have a 416 address, you pay double, the provincial and the municipal together. So that lands you almost $13,000 extra dollars that you have to take into consideration when purchasing a property. So that down payment that you have of $50,000, $60,000, $100,000, don't forget that you gotta save for that land transfer tax. Now there are some lending institutions that will allow you to take some of that and kind of amortize it into the mortgage, but that's something that you'll have to discuss with your lender. Number two, legal fees. Look, the lawyers are imperative. They are crucial to the real estate deal to make sure everything closes on time and the way that it should. And a couple of the things that the real estate lawyers do is they review all legal documents, even the original agreement of purchase and sale, right? They'll also take a look at the status certificate if you're buying a condo. And status certificates are about $100. And one of the main things that the lawyers do is they just make sure that the reserve fund is healthy, right? So if there's anything major that needs to be, fixed or replaced, that reserve fund is healthy enough to cover that cost, so that all of a sudden one day you get the keys and a week later your maintenance fee shoots up because they're replacing the elevators. The status certificate will be able to highlight that. Also, what the lawyer will do, ensure property taxes are paid up to date, may require an adjustment on closing. Look, if you're purchasing a property, let's say middle of the month, and that seller's already paid the property tax for that whole month, you'll need to give them an adjustment or a rebate of that money that they've already paid back to the seller on closing of the property, right? They'll also, and this is a huge one, ensure no liens are listed against the property, and most importantly, ensure that the title on the property is free and clear. And so you say, well, how do they do that? They grab something called title insurance, and they'll ask you if you want it, just do it. My advice to you, it's such a small nominal fee to ensure that your title is free and clear. There's no liens or outstanding mortgages on your property. There's no mortgage fraud, like all of a sudden the title is, it's not in the seller's name, but it's in someone else's name and the house has been refinanced, a couple of times over, right? So title insurance, super, super important. Number four, appraisal fees. So if you're going to the bank or you're going to another lending institution and you're going to get a mortgage, they're going to do an appraisal on the property. In 2018, with all the buyers and sellers that I've worked with, I haven't come across one property buyer or seller that has not had an appraiser come through on their property, right? So they just want to make sure, the lending institutions want to make sure that, whatever you bought the house for or bought the property for is really kind of on par with what the market is demanding or commanding at that time. And appraisal fees are usually at $300 to $500, and again, yep, that's passed on to you as the buyer. Number five, property tax adjustments and utility setups. We talked about property tax adjustments with regards to what the lawyers do, and then there's the utility setups. Look, if you're going to a brand new place, whether you're with Rogers or you're with Bell, and you're doing some of the utility hookups with Electra, Enbridge, Hydro, so on and so forth, there are some fees associated with kind of being a new customer at that address. So just make sure you call in advance and find out what those fees are so that you budget for that. And then the last one, number six, CMHC mortgage insurance. Again, this is This pertains to everyone who doesn't have a 20% down payment. So CMHC stands for the Canadian Mortgage Housing Corporation, and they will insure all mortgages, high risk mortgages, up to 95% of kind of whatever you're borrowing. And now all lenders will require that you have this before they give you kind of that mortgage amount, because they want to make sure, the banks and the lenders want to make sure that they get their money. And if you ever default on your mortgage payments, this corporation ensures that the lenders will get their money. So on the original purchase price of $500,000, if I do not have my 20% down payment, but I have a $25,000 down payment, my premium or mortgage insurance premium is roughly going to be an additional $19,000, right? So that's something you got to pay attention to. So in my previous episode, I talked about really trying to get as much of a down payment as possible. Look, does that mean, hey, Steve, I don't have 20% down, there's no way I can get a property? Absolutely not. Look, if you have 5%, that's still better than nothing, right? Even at 5%, your mortgage premium, right? Your mortgage insurance premium is still going to be up there, right? But at least you'll be able to get into the market, and hopefully that appreciation is going to kind of supersede that penalty. And so the CMHC mortgage insurance premium, lenders can also roll that into your mortgage payments, right? They'll amortize that over your mortgage, and that's something that maybe you may not have budgeted for, but you really, really want that property. They'll be able to kind of roll that into the mortgage that they give to you. But again, that's completely your call as if you want to do that or not. Anyways, I hope you like kind of the brand new, fresh Steve Kinn Show format. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me. I really, really appreciate it. And again, like I always say, it's just a place of service. You got questions, you got anything on your mind, please feel free to send me an email, shoot me a text, give me a call, or come on by, knock on my door, and come check out my big screen TV. Anyways, I hope you have a wonderful week. Take care, everyone. Be great and be kind. Take care.